I'm going to show you some audio tricks in Premiere Pro that I use on almost every project. First off is the effects that I use on vocals. A hard limiter increases the gain, but then it puts a limiter on the top, so that way the loudest sounds stay a little bit quieter while pulling up some of those quieter sounds so that are at even volume level. And that's super helpful for vocals because sometimes people get louder and sometimes people get really soft. And it helps out even out some of those and give you an even level of loudness. I typically set that at about -3 for the limiter, and then typically do about 15 decibels of gain, sometimes around 12 too.
Limiter. Just gonna click and drag that onto here. Going to go into custom setup, edit. I usually do a max of -3 because you kind of want the voice to be between -6 and -12, and you definitely don't want it to hit above 0. So that's what I set it to, and then typically somewhere around 15 decibels tends to be a good effect. And so let's hear without it.
Basically
Here it is without.
effect that raises up the gain, but then it also creates
Here it
this
is with
limiter on it as well. Next I set up just a denoiser filter because there tends to be just a little bit of noise in almost any environment, and I just set this to around 5 to 7%. That tends to even up a lot of that noise without detrimentally impacting the vocals. The next thing that I add is a parametric equalizer, and I tend to just do really high peaks and kind of just drag it along, and you'll start to hear certain frequencies that are really echoey, and if you just drop those all the way down, you'll end up getting rid of some of that echoey sound. You'll get a lot more crisp vocals. And then I also do a very slight high cut and low cut just to kind of even out some of those like background noise.
So for this, I usually just pop these all up at 15. All right, and then I click on the high pass and low pass. This over here is the lower sounds, and this is the really high pitched sounds. So we'll just go with 6 decibels on both sides. So you have a nice little smooth cutoff. Otherwise, it'll sound very harsh. Then we have 15. Okay. And then for these parts, I just pull these up.
Increases the gain, but then it puts a limiter on the top.
I usually just listen through for the...
so that way the loudest sounds stay a little bit quieter while pulling up some of those...
I listen for where it starts to become really echoey, and then I pull that part down.
Quieter.
I'll do that for all 5 of these here, so I'll do that real quick.
Their sounds so that are at even volume level. And that's super helpful for vocals because sometimes people get louder and sometimes people get really soft. And it helps out even out some of those and give you an even level of loudness. I typically set that at about -3 for the limiter, and then typically do about 15 decibels of gain, sometimes around 12 too. And that's super helpful for vocals because
so that's what I typically do for the vocal tracks.
to all my background music, in order so that we can hear the vocals, I reduce the volume by -20 decibels. And if it's a quieter song, you kind of want it hitting the audio meters at around -20. And then I also add a parametric equalizer on that as well. And I'd really just want to cut out this middle range, which is where the voice is kind of. And so I just do a really smooth, long swoop down, pulling down the middle tones. The third feature that I use on almost every video is the remix song effect on Premiere Pro. It's super awesome. It lets you retime any song to any length, pretty much. It doesn't give you exact amounts, but it'll give you somewhere close to where you're looking for.
While we're on the music track, just hit music. We're going to click this duration checkbox. It's going to analysis. And then you can just click and then, let's see, on this. This is about 447. And then I'll remix it to approximately the same size. Sometimes you just have to finagle it a little bit to get to the length that you want it to be. There's also this customize. You see there's a lot of it repeating the same portion of the song right there. If I don't want that, I can reduce the segments and then it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a super helpful tool that I use because it's super hard to find a song that's the exact length of what you're looking for. And this helps you just edit to the length that you actually want it to be. Hope these audio tips were super helpful. Check out the rest of my channel down below.